What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of Predict the Prem, where me and my brother go head-to-head on predicting every single Premier League outcome of the weekend. The way the scoring works, it is 5 points for a completely correct score, 1 point for a correct result, win, lose or draw, and then the star man as well, which you can only pick once a season. So Sim has picked Erling Haaland and
Watkins,
so he can't pick them again. I have picked, I can't even remember who I picked. Bamford and Rashford, that was it. And I can't pick them again, which is going to make it very interesting. And it's 5 points for a score, for a goal, and 3 points for an assist. And the scoring at the moment is 12-8 in Sim's favour. So let's get straight into it and see if I can make up any points on him this week. And the first game is Tottenham against Wolves. Both of us going for resounding Tottenham victories. Sim going for 3-0. I went for 2-0. Explain yourself.
I don't think Wolves have started so well this season. A loss to Leeds and a draw at home to Fulham. And I don't think Wolves right now, I know they've just signed Matthias Nunes from Sporting, so that should give them a lift. I just feel like they're not as efficient as they were last season. I think going forward, they made the most of the little chances they created, and I don't think they're as good at the back right now as they were last season. So I think Spurs, in their evolution as a team, are ahead of them. We can exploit their weaknesses right now. I don't see it being a similar game to last season where we lost 2-0 and we gave the lead up early. I think we're a better team now, so I'm going for a resounding 3-0 victory.
I think it's time to right those wrongs of last season when we lost quite tragically to them last season at home. I think we will win comfortably. I agree with you that Wolves aren't as strong as last season, but I still think they're quite good defensively. So I've just gone for a 2-0 win. And
they let go of their best defender.
They did let go of their best defender, which is interesting because I don't know what the situation was. Cody apparently wanted to leave, and they were apparently happy to let him go as well. I don't understand that situation.
Went on loan. I don't know. It's very odd.
But I still think they're like, in terms of a defensive system and structure, they've got it in place there. And I think players like Max Kilman, very good players, and they've also got some other good players there. So I think defensively as a structure, that shouldn't. Cody obviously will.
They moved to a back four now this season.
Yeah, Nuno was trying to implement that, wasn't he, in his last season there. It didn't really work. But look, we'll have to see how it works out. But I do think they're going to struggle this season. But I still think that they shouldn't concede that many goals. But we'll see what happens. Moving on to Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. I've gone for 1-0 here to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and I've gone 3-1.
Yeah, I've gone for 1-0 because I think Palace are fairly good at the back with Guehi and Anderson. I think both of them have started the season really well. They look good against Liverpool, especially defensively, and against Arsenal, I think they improved in that second half, seeing as they didn't have somewhat of a pre-season. Villa, for me, have looked pretty poor in both of those games, even though they got over the line against Everton in their last game. But I just think I can't really see them scoring against this Palace side this weekend.
Yeah, I like the look of this Palace team. You know, Olise as well. He came on in the second half against Liverpool, so maybe he'll start this game. A front three of Olise, Zaha and Eze looks really good.
Eze's impressive.
And if you can add Ismaila Sarr to that, all of a sudden,
joining them, is he?
Potentially, there's concrete talks at the moment. That's a serious looking front line, especially if you're counter attacking. Add into that Decore, who they've signed in the midfield, who looks like a real find.
And Schlupp in the middle is like a workhorse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's playing well, and obviously the back two of Anderson and Guehi as well. Like Palace are building a really nice team, and I predicted them for a top half finish. This season. They got a very good draw at Anfield, even though they play against 10 men. They were 1-0 up when Nunes got sent off. So, you know, they're already playing fairly well. So I think they're going to get the better of this Villa side, who haven't impressed me so far. And I think, you know, if they do lose, the pressure could be starting to pile a bit on Gerrard, although they did win last week. But I do think they'll score, because I think they've got the firepower to score, but I think Palace will be too strong.
Let's move on to the next game, Everton against Nottingham Forest, which is going to be an interesting game at Goodison. I've gone for 1-1. My reasoning behind it, I mean, I just haven't been impressed with Everton so far, really. I mean, they were okay against Chelsea. Maybe could have got something out of the game, albeit it was a penalty that got Chelsea all the 3 points, but against Villa, they really weren't good at all. This Nottingham Forest side, obviously in the Premier League with a point to prove. If this game was at the City Ground, I probably would have edged more to a Forest win, but seeing as it is at Goodison, I've gone for a draw here.
Yeah, I've gone for a Forest win. I think with Forest in obviously good spirits after their first Premier League win against West Ham, hard-fought win. I think that confidence will be high. I think Everton at the moment is not a happy camp. I think Onana might make his debut, so I think that could give them a boost. But I think the confidence Forest will get from that first Premier League win might take them to a victory here, especially with a lot of their new signings still bedding in. I think at the moment they might be looking dangerous. I just feel like Everton, they're going to really struggle in this game, and I've gone for a Forest to get 3 points.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to Fulham against Brentford, and I've actually gone for a Fulham win here, 2-1 to Fulham. I've actually been impressed with Fulham so far this season. Obviously, first game they drew with Liverpool and probably should have got more out of that game. Second game they drew with Wolves. Again, probably should have got more of that out of that game, seeing as Mitrovic missed the penalty. So they will probably be a bit disappointed that they haven't got more points on the board as of yet. And I think finally they will get all 3 points on the board. Brentford, on the other hand, look, they came up against a very, very poor Manchester United side, and I think anyone on that day probably would have beaten Man United by a resounding scoreline. So I'm not reading too much into that. First game of the season, who did Brentford play?
They drew to Leicester 2-2.
They drew to Leicester, which they probably... they came back from 2-0 down, didn't they? But which is impressive in itself. And look, you can't really write off a Brentford side because they always give 100%. They've got the physical attributes to match anyone. But I just think in this game at Craven Cottage, I'm just siding with Fulham here.
Yeah, I think I've gone for a draw. I think Brentford are playing quite well, and I think they're going to be quite high on confidence after battering Man United last week. I think the front two as well are giving teams a lot of trouble, Tony and Mbeumo, as they have done throughout the season. Now, I think last season they started well as well before kind of plateauing throughout the season, so I'm expecting fairly similar. So I think Fulham also in good form with unbeaten so far with 2 draws. But I don't know if they'll have enough in their armoury to overcome this Brentford side who look quite resolute. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
All right, let's move on to Leicester against Southampton at the King Power. Sim has gone 3-2. I've gone for 2-2. 1 goal different here, which is interesting.
Goals,
yeah, we're predicting goals. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. When you're looking at Southampton, obviously they got battered the first game of the season against us. But second game of the season, coming back from 2-0 down away at Leeds, at home to Leeds, is an impressive thing to do against a Leeds side which seem to have their tails up at the moment. So I think they'll go into this game with a bit of confidence and a bit of a point to prove as well. Leicester, on the other hand, they had it the other way around in the first game of the season against Brentford, where they let a 2-goal lead slip, and in their other game they just weren't impressive against Arsenal whatsoever. So I can't really split the side, and I think Southampton got a bit of a point to prove here.
I think it's just 2 very open teams, isn't it? 2 very attacking teams right now. I think Leicester, for all their struggles defensively, they've been pretty decent going forward. They got absolutely battered by Arsenal at the back, but they did cause them trouble the other way, scoring 2 goals. So you can say similar in their first game when they were 2-0 up and looking decent, and then obviously they give up the leads. But I think they're just going to edge out a resilient Southampton side who are obviously going to keep pushing and playing their attacking football. I just don't see them outscoring this Leicester team, and I think Leicester do have quality despite their struggles so far. They do have good quality going forward, so I'm going to say 3-2 to Leicester.
All right, next up, Bournemouth against Arsenal. Both of us going 3-1 to Arsenal here, and a pretty routine score, to be honest. Arsenal started the season really well. Bournemouth, a bit of a mixed bag. They won their first game against Villa 2-0, got battered in their second game without Man City really coming out of second gear. But I can't see Bournemouth really getting anything against his Arsenal side, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. I think Arsenal are going to be too strong. I do see Bournemouth getting a goal just because they're at home, and it's going to be a big game for them back in the Premier League, and the crowd will be on their side, so I'm sure that can give them a bit of energy and a bit of impetus. But I think Arsenal's quality will probably shine through throughout the 90 minutes. I can see it being a difficult day for Bournemouth in the end, so 3-1.
Leeds against Chelsea, the first game on the Sunday. I've gone for 2-1 to Chelsea here, and I think that when I look at it, Chelsea were poor first game of the season against Everton, but they really kick-started their season against us in terms of performance. I thought they played really well, and I think they're going to take that performance into a tough game at Ellen Road for them this weekend, and I see them just about edging it out.
I think Ellen Road, tough place to go with the crowd behind them. I think there's a bit of a rivalry, isn't there, between Leeds and Chelsea as well. So I expect the Leeds crowd to be up for it. I think Leeds are getting their act together as well right now. They've had a good summer. They've made some good business. Jesse March clearly has identified some talent, which they've brought through the door. They've had a pretty decent start to the season as well, with a win and a draw. So I'm backing them to carry that on. I think Chelsea could be under the cosh a bit during the game. So I think Leeds will get a draw.
All right, let's move on to West Ham against Brighton. Both of us going for the exact same scoreline here in 1-1. West Ham have not started the season well. Brighton, on the other hand, have started the season well. But I think that when you're looking at a game at the London Stadium, the scores between these two teams at the London Stadium is usually a draw. So I've gone for a repeat of that. But, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams nick it 2-1, but I've just gone on the safe side to be 1-1.
Yeah, I think West Ham right now struggling a bit for a real threatening in front of goal. Obviously, Brighton tactically under Potter are very, very strong. They got a new signing now from Villarreal, the new left back. Can't remember how you pronounce it. Estupinian. He could be a very good signing for them as well, with his ability to go forward. So, I think Brighton are always a very difficult team to play against, even when they're not playing well. And I think they are playing well right now. So I've gone for them to get a draw at the London Stadium.
All right, let's move on to the last game on the Sunday, which is Newcastle against Manchester City. Both of us going for City win. Surprise, surprise. I've gone for 2-0. Why have you gone for 2-1?
I think Newcastle at St James's Park, especially since Eddie Howe's come in, has become a very, very difficult place to go. And I think there's going to be a lot of confidence flowing through Newcastle with the way they're playing. Obviously, Bruno Guimaraes as well is dictating games right now. Callum Wilson's starting to get his goal-scoring boots back. So I think they could give City some trouble, but City, I think, are going to be too good in the long run. And the way they like to control games, I think they're going to come out on top. But I do see Newcastle causing them some trouble.
I just don't know if it's enough trouble to get on the score sheet. I think Man City's defence is so resolute. They're such a difficult team to play against, Man City. And they've started the season so well without really getting out of second gear. And I think if they push it up a notch, I don't think Newcastle got a chance here. But having said that, Newcastle have started the season well. They've carried on where they've left off from last season. So they've definitely got a slight chance to get at least a goal in this game. But I just think City are just going to be way too strong. And I got a feeling it's going to be 2-0 again without City really getting out of second or third gear. But let's move on to the last game of the weekend, which is Manchester United against Liverpool, a big derby up north. And as you can see, not many of us, well, I don't think anyone could be predicting goals for Manchester United or a win for Manchester United, seeing as what they're looking like at the moment. But Liverpool do have their injuries. They do have their injuries. I've gone for 3-0 to Liverpool. I don't really think the injuries should matter too much in this game, seeing as Brentford completely wiped the floor with Man United. Man U just look lost at the moment. Ten Hag looks completely out of ideas already.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure he'll have a plan to kind of change it a bit. They can't look after losing 4-0 to Brentford. They can't get battered again. But you never know with Man United. But I've gone for 2-0. I think first of all Liverpool with injuries, and then obviously Núñez is suspended as well. I believe Jota. He was injured last week, so I'm not sure if he's going to be back. Firmino is probably going to be out, so I'm not sure who they're going to play in their front three. Obviously got Diaz and Salah there already. Maybe they move one of them to the centre and put Harvey Elliott up front, potentially, or Carvalho maybe comes in with Salah down the middle. Either way, there's not going to be as much of a physical presence up front as maybe there would have been if Núñez was there or Jota. So that could maybe help Man United if they've got like Martinez there or something. Maybe he's not going to be as bullied. But I do think Liverpool are going to be too strong. I can't see Man United laying a glove on Liverpool in this game. So 2-0.
I've just got a feeling in this game, if Liverpool can get an early goal, Man U are just going to crumble.
Especially, with the fans getting on their back.
Exactly, and the Man U fans are a bit toxic at the moment. So That's the way I'm feeling. But let's move on to the star men and some interesting picks this week. I have gone for Alexander Mitrovic of Fulham. I think that, Fulham can get a couple of goals this weekend, and I think Mitrovic will be central to everything Fulham do this weekend. Big physical man up top, and obviously he'll take their penalties if they get any as well. So obviously,
was it Brentford at home?
Yeah. Yeah, he did miss one last week, but he ain't going to miss 2 in a row, hopefully.
Well, he has to get one first. Yeah. I've gone for James Maddison. I think at home to Southampton, he should get plenty of opportunities in and around the penalty area and from free kicks to get on the score sheet. And as well, I'm sure he'll have opportunities to lay on some assists. He did get a goal last week away at Arsenal as well. And I think maybe with the end of the window creeping up, he might want to try and force a move and impress in the last few games, although it seems unlikely he'll move at this point. But I do back him to get on the score sheet against Southampton. So I've gone for James Maddison.
All right. Well, that is our Predict the Prem for this weekend. Let me know who you think is going to come out on top this week. And also let me know your predictions with your star man picks in the comments section below. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.